Welcome to The Process, and I'm your host, Dr. Masi Reynolds, orthopedic sports medicine specialist by training. And in my world, we see the comeback stories, right? We see the injury, we see the recovery, we see the comeback, we see the podiums and the trophies, but what we don't see is the behind the scenes. We don't see the trenches. We don't see the emotional, the physical, the psychological tolls that it took to get back to that podium. And that's what these conversations are about, is really unpacking that journey and hearing it from the athlete themselves or the patient themselves and what it took for them in building their team and putting together a recovery plan to be able to get back. And in this episode, we're talking to Billy Kemper. Billy is a 4-time Big Wave World Tour champion winner. He has won Peʻahi championship multiple times. He is considered one of the best big wave surfers of all time. But even on top of that, he is an incredible competition surfer. And he is one of the rare breeds that can make that transition from small wave competition surfing all the way up to the biggest waves in the world. But beyond that, he is an incredible father, incredible husband, and probably the best out there in terms of his maintenance program, his recovery, and putting people on his team and in his corner to optimize his health in every way possible. And in this episode, you're going to learn a little bit about his techniques, what he does to maintain himself physically, emotionally, psychologically, mentally at the highest levels, his routines, his habits. You're going to learn a bit about the downsides of becoming the best in the world and the struggles that come with head injury and identity and purpose. We also talk about his gnarly injury in Morocco and the behind the scenes of that, because that's where him and I really connected. And I'm excited for you to hear a little bit about his side of that as well. This is a story of discipline, of brotherhood, and an identity beyond achievement. Please enjoy this episode with Billy Kemper. Before we get started, please remember that this podcast is for informational purposes only. The ideas and opinions shared here represent our own and are not meant to be taken as medical advice. Listening does not create a doctor-patient relationship, and we always recommend speaking with a qualified healthcare provider for any health-related decisions. This show is independent of our professional roles and reflects our own personal perspectives. Yeah, Billy. What's up, brother?
What's happening?
What do you got there?
I got 750 milligrams of NAD and some stem cells are on their way.
That's right. We got BPC 157, TB 500, loading you up with some NAD and some stem cells. We're going to make it worth your while here as we sit down and chat a little bit. And
as you know, time is very valuable and fragile in life.
Yeah.
You got to take what you can get.
This was your idea because, you know, we only get you in town for a short period of time. And every time I see you, it's like you're flying in, you're flying out. We're doing stem cells. We're doing peptides. And I see you for just a hot second. And we were so lucky to get you in town for a little bit more than 24 hours. And so thanks for coming on and sitting down. And you were like, yeah, man, like while I'm there, let's optimize the heck out of me and let's do it while we sit down and chat. So I appreciate that idea. And I think it's a great idea because time is valuable. So,
for sure. Yeah. And thank you. I appreciate your time. I think we have a lot in common with the kids, the wives, busy lifestyle. And when I do get in someone's presence like yourself, I am very honored with time. And I feel like if I can kill the time like we are right now, doing a few different things at once, it makes everyone happier and more successful. You can go on and finish your day with your family. I can get to what I'm doing.
Love that.
One step ahead.
Yeah, I love that. And
always.
And it's always so seamless, and I'm grateful for that with you, meaning you in our own interactions, but our families too as well. And we'll get into it, but we connect on so many different things. And I think the first and foremost is just who you are as a family man, who you are as a husband, who you are as a father. And you represent that well online, but I'd say more importantly, you represent that in the flesh. And when I'm in and around you, it's always number one for you. Like, my kids, what am I doing? You know, whether we're in Tavarua, whether on the North Shore, whether we're here in the area, you're always focused on that, number one. And although obviously a world champion and what you do out in the gym and in the water is a huge part of your brand. But I have to say, as a friend and as your doctor, like what I see and what I'm incredibly grateful to be around and inspired by is how you interact with your kids and how you focus on family first. So,
well, if it helps, everything I do I take from you.
Yeah. Oh,
As a
man.
father, I literally, we're probably going to be doing this for the next hour, but I'm
Yeah.
telling you right
Oh,
now, if I
man.
could take one
Yeah.
thing and thank you for
Wow.
everything you've done for me. Yeah,
Yeah.
you've put my body back together. You've made decisions about my body that my family hasn't even made. So I thank you for that. But more so, what you do for your wife and your kids is what is the most valuable asset for me, what I see
Yeah.
from you.
Thank you,
It's,
brother.
I need to learn more of how you control and handle that family because I'm nowhere near the level you are as
Oh
a
my
father
God.
yet and as a husband. So
It is a work, isn't it? It's a work in progress,
I'm
man.
working right now.
It's like,
I'm big time. I got my phone on silent, but
oh
I'm definitely
no.
trying to make my wife happy right
Yeah.
now.
I can see that.
Always.
And it's a work in progress. And just when you feel like you got it figured out, like curveballs come left and right. I mean, I was just in the OR this week talking about struggles I'm having with my oldest, and
Yep.
and every day brings a new opportunity. I like to look at it this way, at least a new opportunity for me to grow as a father, because gosh, they are your ultimate teachers, aren't they? Like, you think you have it figured out, and obviously the things that you do in your life and in your profession, and not to say that you always have that figured out, but like sometimes that's easier, right? than what we face at home.
For
So
sure. I
yeah.
think I told my wife the other day, I said, it's too late for me to learn. I'm already an adult. Like, how am I supposed to adjust this right now? But it's really not the case with being a father.
Mhm.
Every day you're learning. No one taught you how to be a dad.
Right.
No one's
No.
going to be like, okay, you're ready to have a kid now.
Yeah.
No, it's not like that.
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
learn on the go, you learn on the fly. And I think for people who can adapt like that, and maybe it came from their career, if they can put that towards fatherhood, towards being a husband, you will be a lot less stressful. And I shouldn't say accepted, but you will be a lot more considered by your family in not that anger intense way. And that's what I'm learning is I can teach myself anything through hard work and dedication, but with a family, it doesn't work like that, especially with being a father. Like, you know it with your teenage boys. Like, man, patience is everything. Like, hearing them, we're talking about this yesterday. Like, they make a mistake. I'm trying to adjust, adapt, and learn on the spot.
Mhm.
Where my wife's like, no,
Yeah.
it doesn't work like
Right.
that. And I'm like, yes, it does work like
Yeah,
that.
absolutely.
And ego, putting your ego aside, like there's so many ways of relating career, father, husband, all that stuff of like, there's a time and place for certain things through arousement. But like for me right now, with what I think we both are relating on and going through is raising teenage boys and getting through that, making your wife happy. It all comes down to literally being patient, being silent, and just observing. Like I I do too much, and that's just opening my mouth. And I think like what you're saying yesterday is just like observing is such an important piece of being a father is really observing what's happening and just being silent, being a sponge to it. Like we're so used to projecting, and for me I got to just silence.
Well, I think that and kind of the same thing in my world is that I'm used to fixing things, right? Or for you specifically is dialing in, and we'll get into that, right? Like whether it's your training or your recovery or whatever it is, like there's
Yeah,
always an answer to how to
problems are
do it. Yeah, problems
opportunities.
are
I'm
opportunities. And
like, great.
so when you see that as a parent, like our first instinct is to fix, right?
Competition,
Like competition. Yeah, here's it.
go.
And there's ego attached to that. And like we were talking about yesterday, for me specifically, it's like releasing and letting go of my ego when it comes to that behavior and how that potentially is a reflection of me as a father, right? And maybe it's not, in the sense of like, yes, we can kind of go through those core tenets of what it means to be a good human and how to treat people. But at the end of the day, we only have so much control. And I always say, like, as parents, we think that we have way more control than we actually do. And we actually pretend to. And sometimes we really do convince ourselves that we do, but we really don't. And I hear you, man, because like how I am with my oldest, I take a step back and get that 30,000-foot view and kind of review a week. I'm like, damn, all he heard was from me was no, 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 don't, blah, 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 which is translated to you're bad, you're bad, you're bad, you're bad, you're not doing anything right. And fuck, that's not the right answer either, right?
Mm-mm.
So yeah.
Exactly. I deal with the same thing with my eldest boy. It's like, it's probably 90% no's, which is like, damn. I look at that now that I'm here. I take a step back. I leave home for a couple days for work obligations, and I look at my week, like how was that last week? I'm like, damn, that was a lot of no's. That was a lot of like, do this, you need to do that. Not like, oh, good job, like back to celebrating the small victories like we go through with injuries. I think relating and slowing things down and, jumping into not the father competitive perspective, but jumping into like the kid's best friend perspective. Like, how do I make the kid my best friend? And that's what I think I've taken from guys like Laird Hamilton and people who I look, Shane Dorian, like these father figure, like superheroes to me. I see the way their kids and them relate to each other. I'm like, damn, I need that. And that's just friendship. That's that best friend. Like, no, you are my dad, but hey, let's go surf today. Like, it's rare you get those calls from your kid. And I think that's the ultimate goal, is to be your son's best friend.
Yeah, absolutely. And being vulnerable enough to say, I'm sorry, here's how I messed up. And here's how, because you said it earlier, it's like there's no book. I mean, there's a million books, but there's also no books. And we get caught up in these anti-parenting patterns because without that training and that background, we're going to rely on our experience. And our experience is variable. How was your father? How was your mother? How was your mentors to you and the aunties and the uncles? And whether it's an iron fist or the opposite, like we're going to lean on those patterns because that's all we know. And then we recognize, oh, like it doesn't have to be completely opposite the way that I was brought up because I don't like how I was brought up. You can still take bits and pieces of that while still bringing in some of the things that you're learning along the way, all the while making sure that they understand you're learning as you go. And that's something that I've gotten better at, is being like, you know what? I'm telling Jet, I just told him last week, like I'm learning as I go, and I'm never going to pretend to have it all kind of figured out. And I need you to know that I'm not perfect, because I'm absolutely not. And I mess up all the time, and I have with you within certain circumstances, but I'm always trying to get better. And I'm always trying to figure out how to connect with you in a way that that I love you, while at the same time, you need to hear that your life is going to be exponentially better if you understand these core principles moving forward. Because that's ultimately what it's about, right? Because you can see the potholes before they step into them.
Exactly. Right. And it's like I tell my kids all the time, I'm trying to help you not make the same mistakes I made. Like, and that's why it sounds so hard, because I've walked through that 10 times. I did it 10 times. I don't want you to do it once.
Absolutely.
They don't see it. But I guess sometimes you have to let them, I shouldn't say feel the bottom, but like, sometimes that vulnerability, like, being, I shouldn't say embarrassed, but like being at the bottom, things are a lot more visible. And sometimes, like for me, and I don't want my kids have to deal with that, but like, yeah, I don't know, just seeing that floor level of no one being, no one below you, no one above you. Things are a lot more visible in life. And I feel like the kids can kind of like attach on and see better when it's not that they fail, but just, and I shouldn't say embarrassed, it's just being grounded. At the end of the day, it's like that grounding, respected. Yeah, you don't need to fail at something, you don't need to lose, but you need to check in with that floor level and understand, oh shit, we're all on the same level. I have to treat everyone how I want to be treated. And it goes back to just the basics, the fundamentals of life. Like my teenage boys and even myself, it's always like, go to the bottom. Everyone's visible there. When you're at the top, you can't see anyone.
Yeah.
And that's
where honesty exists.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. Honesty exists at the bottom.
Yeah. And just knowing, and I mean, we can go on this, but just knowing, at least for me, that like in those moments at that bottom, regardless of what it is, I will always be here, right? Mm-hmm. Not that I advocate for certain things, but I will always, unconditionally, right, be here to whatever you need me to be to kind of make it through that. And you're going to discover a lot on your own, and I'm going to keep putting up those guardrails for you, but ultimately, like, you're going to have to figure it out. So,
for sure. It's back to the best friend.
Yeah.
I got your back.
Yeah.
I'm not going to hold your hand. I'll be here, but you got to get through this on your own.
I love that. That actually wasn't intentional. I appreciate you brought that up, because that's really, I mean, listeners just heard exactly what I love most about you.
Well, let's be serious. I mean, honestly, how much surgeries have we talked about?
Yeah, exactly.
I walked into his house last night. My best friend's MRI is up on the thing, and I'm like,
oh my gosh,
dude. We could go on and on.
Dude,
about
you could be
that.
a medical partner of mine at this point. You know so much. It's so rad to hear. So
that's I had a million conversations last night about big waves and about this and that. When I get into someone's presence that I can really relate to on things that matter most, let's be honest, like your priority for sure is making sure everyone's got a great ACL. But at the end of the day, there's no one who matters more than your children and your wife. And that's it for me. And it's like there was a point in time where surfing was all that mattered. Mm-hmm. That trophy was all that mattered.
Yeah.
But I started to realize that, like, whoa, this is not the path of life that I'm taking. Like, that's not my legacy. I don't want my kids to, oh, yeah, my dad passed away. He was a great surfer. He's the best surfer at Jaws. No. I lost my dad. My dad was the best dad in the world. Like, that's what it comes down to. And I think that's why we've turned a business partnership into more of a friendship. Like, this is way more about our families than it is about putting bodies back together and winning events.
Yeah, you couldn't have said it any better. And that's what I think about, not just with you, but all my patients, but very much with you, is I understand what you need to do to continue to provide for your family. But at the same time, more important than anything for me is to make sure that you are there for their family in the best possible way. So whether it's through something like this or reconstructing a ligament or doing whatever we need to answer some questions, wrap on injury or whatever, that's the friendship that we have. That's a conversation about medicine, but more importantly, it's a matter of making sure Billy's at his best for the Ohana.
And that's why there's only one greatest doctor of all time.
I love you, man.
But seriously, this is how I introduce you to people. I'm like, hey, he's not a doctor.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Doctors are in white coats and they prescribe medications for you that can change your life for the worst. Like, they're not out there trying to give you their best opinion. I've seen doctors around the world, seen them in Hawaii, and there's a reason why I fly to you. There's a reason why when I introduce people to you, like, hey, this is not Dr. Masi. This is my friend Masi. Like, this is a friend of mine. If I got to make a decision about my children's health, this is whose opinion counts. There's no other doctor. Like, I think that's why you've become so valuable, not only to everyday humans, but to action sports, to athletes. People value your relationship with your family, with your community, with your friends, almost more so than what they value when you're under the lights with a knife in your hand. Like, it's more so about your response the day after surgery. Hey, did you make it home safe? How's the swelling? Like, those direct text messages mean way more than the performance of your surgery. You've said it before, there's people who can do surgery as good as you, but they can do it better, and they can't follow up on the way you follow up. It's not about and it's also me taking the time to wanting to respond, to wanting to communicate with you. I think those people who have seen that value of your friendship are the people who have engaged, not taking advantage of your craft, but just taking on all the honor. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm honored when I get put under anesthesia with you. Like, I'm like, all right, here we go, And I think it's becoming, I shouldn't say popular or a trend, but people are catching on to what you have to offer. Yeah. And I think that's why we're sitting here right now talking about this, because somebody's getting pretty popular around town for the right reasons.
Yeah, thanks to you.
But that's what it's all about. I think, I think a lot of people don't practice what they preach. I think a lot of people don't deserve credit where it's due. And I think you're somebody lacking the credit. I think you deserve more.
Yeah.
I think a lot of credits put around the world, put around other doctors and theories and protocols that don't deserve the amount of it. Like, what you're doing for people it's next to none.
I appreciate that, man.
There's no one else out there that I've encountered that can give back, and not just to an athlete, to just your everyday normal human being.
Yeah.
Your communication, your love, your hospitality, your connection, the way you operate with people, it's next to none.
Oh, thank you for that, man. I appreciate that. And
Oh,
it's intentional because it's part of the outcome. And listen, like I've always said this to you, and I've always believed this, is that the doctor-patient relationship needs to be a two-sided relationship. It's not me telling you what you need for your body. It's me giving options. It's you informing me on what you think, what your intuition tells you that you need, and the information that you bring to the table. We bring it all together and have a conversation about it, because there is no cookie cutter approach here. It's all about finding the best solution for you specifically, or the next patient, or the next patient, or the next patient. That requires dialogue. That requires me understanding who you are, not only in your arena, but also in the confines of your home and and it doesn't mean I need to go unpack, but I really need to know you so that I can be able to communicate where I have to be able to pull back when I have to. And sometimes it's hard. I mean, we've had really hard conversations where I think probably you're like, fuck, Masi, just tell me what to do. And it's like, no,
yeah.
no, Billy, let's talk about this.
You need
right?
to feel that
Yeah.
person.
And sometimes sometimes that's hard. And that's really hard for patients when they have to tap into their intuition, and you're really good at it. I lean on a lot and I've learned a lot from you, and we can go into that, but it's a two-sided relationship, and I come to the table with my knowledge and my background and my studies and my experience, but I only come to it, to a conclusion. And if I have someone who's giving back what they, are bringing to the table as well with regards to their information, their experience, their intuition, and their knowledge in around that space too. So that's where the best outcomes lie, right? That's where, people get back stronger than they were before, better than they were before, not only physically, but mentally. And that's, as you know, one of the biggest components to me is making sure that you find that gift through injury and recovery. And on the other side, you're a better version of yourself when you went in. So you mentioned a little bit earlier about that transition, like when you identified yourself as more than just a world champion big wave surfer, or surfer in general. When do you have an idea when that was, or was it just kind of a slow developing process over time?
I think that was like in the last year.
Oh, shit.
I just think like recently,
Yeah.
as you know, we've talked about like concussions and mental health.
Yeah.
I think the last few years has been like, if there's something that I could highlight around, yeah, I've had some injuries. Like we've fixed a couple MCLs the last couple of years, spine issues, C5, C6, joint separations, AC joint. Nothing's been like a huge operation, fifth metatarsal break. We've
Oh,
had a
yeah,
few
right,
injuries the
yeah.
last years, but I think that my concussions have opened up like a new category of training.
Mhm.
I've trained physically, I've trained spiritually, medically. I've done everything, and this is something that I really haven't prioritized is my brain, my
Mm.
mental health. Um, I've, as you know, just my upbringing, there's a lot of potholes, a lot of ditches I had to climb out of through loss, through different things, addictions, all different sorts of things, parenting, just a rough upbringing. And I think the concussions have started to highlight some of those things and started to create patterns that as a father I wasn't proud of. As a husband I wasn't proud of. Like why are these like competitive athlete, you know, sense of humor happening in my household? Like why am I competing with my wife? Why am I competing with my kids? Like put the guard down, leave that version outside. And yeah, I started to just realize that there's a world champion mindset, and that is a mind of one person. It's no one but yourself. Everything you do throughout that day is for yourself. You can give credit to other people and thank people and give them a little bit of your time, but you're never present. You're never like, you're never in their moment. You're
Mhm.
always in yours. Like I could be sitting here, but I could be thinking completely outside of the box. Like I'm not here. I'm just, and that's what it was for me. It was just like this competitive drive to be the greatest person. Or I shouldn't say the greatest person, this drive to be what I wanted to be, what I was told I was never going to be, what I wasn't supposed to be there. I was never supposed to achieve that. I was so addicted to proving people wrong that I just got lost in my own world of winning. And it's a great thing. It's success. It's like, it's something a lot of people don't understand and can never access. And finding a way to access out of that has been like the biggest gift life has ever thrown at me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's for my kids and my wife. Like finding the, I guess it's a balance. Like that's to me like the ultimate word of being a father is balance, success, love, you know, surrender. Like finding all this shit is like, this is the hard part of life. Like this is where I'm like trying to uncover like, why am I bringing this home from a Jersey to my house? Like, why is this sensitive? Like, why is this frustration, all this energy? That energy does not belong in my household. Like, that's a total different conversation. That's a different environment. That's a different stadium. Get that out of here. And finding that transition through the concussions and through the mental health of like having to put my guard down, having to put the ego down and really learn about myself. Like, let's be honest, Billy, like, what am I known for right now? Like, what do people talk about? What, like, it, I lost my brother when he was 18 years old. I was 8 years old. Like, what was he remembered for?
Right.
He was remembered for being like a radical, very talented surfer. And at 18, that's, he shouldn't have been remembered for being a father. He wasn't a dad yet, but he wasn't like, he was just growing into himself. And he had one thing in mind, and that was being the best surfer in the world. And that's what he is remembered for.
Mm-hmm.
For me, as wisdom and time keeps ticking and things start, life ain't waiting for anyone. Time's going fast. I'm getting older. That's the truth. And anything is possible in life. It's really valuable. And I tell people like, hey, I'm so grateful I made it to 30. What? I was like, I told my mom, like, if I make it to 30, I made it. Like I did everything I wasn't supposed to do. And I lost my mom when I was 27. So I'm 35 now. I've got 7 years on earth without her. And I feel like every year's just a bonus year.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm so grateful for this. And it's made me pull back and learn about myself and just try to find, it's been a touchy, I shouldn't say touchy subject, but something hard to learn about through the mental health side of things as I slow down and start to process things and just really try to get a grip and understand how I can pass my knowledge of time going through these moments. Like, how can I pass this on to my kids? How can I show them that I benefited from these things? Like, yeah, losing my mom was the worst thing in the world. Like, nothing more a child should ever go through. But I also learned so much about myself. 27 years of the best mom in the world. I don't have her anymore, but for 27 years, there's not a person in the world I would replace for that. And I explained to my kids, hey, it's not about having them forever. It's about having them for such a great time, such a great moment. You have to take advantage of that time. You can't let it just go. If there's an issue, fix it and address it. Like, please, like that's, we're a team. And just trying to really get a grip of that has been a big priority over the last couple of years. It's definitely my career is a huge priority still. I have so much left in the tank. I feel like I'm at the peaking years of performance, but I'm also at a place where I need to pivot and adjust as a father, as a mentor, as somebody in my community to not just be remembered as a surfer. Like, I don't want that. I really don't. I want to be remembered as a sense of humor, as, my legacy. I want it to be attached to my family, not attached to the waves I've rode. Like that's really, at the end of the day, if there's something that I can take out of the last few years of slowing my thoughts down and learning about myself from the inside out, like healing my brain and diving deep and understanding depression, second guessing yourself, being very, having no self-confidence, being insecure. Like all this shit was so real for me. I'm like, even my wife was like, wait, what? Insecure? You're not confident? Like, how? I'm just being honest. I think that's why I've hid so much. That's why I'm just me. I can't talk. No one can relate. I got to take this beast on by myself. And
you're performing.
If I crack that window of my insecurities and somebody hears about it, they get ahead of me. And I'm like, no, this is just a rock hard sealed ball that no one can puncture. And I think as I let people in and the bubble gets punctured, it's not that I lose confidence or lose my sight on being the greatest surfer, but I shift into kind of carrying a team and doing this with people. And it's a hard transition. It's hard to understand, but I think if there's one way to do it, that's the only way to do it. I watched Shane Dorian. I've watched certain people be able to do it. And then I've watched some surfers just come to a stop sign and just freak out, like have nowhere to go. There's like no pivot. They can't turn left. They can't turn right. They can't go straight. They just explode. And the surfing's done. The fun's done. The family's done. They lose it. And that's everything I'm trying not to do.
The motivation with that proverbial chip on your shoulder, with the I'm going to succeed despite ends up running out, right? I mean, what I hear is that was your motivation, right? That pushed you, like, despite your upbringing, despite history with your brother and mother and everything that, we know about you, you were going to succeed. However, it seems like that transition is more so, I'm looking at not as a disadvantage, but more, hey, I'm grateful. I am grateful for those experiences. I'm grateful that I had that time with my mom, and I'm grateful that she's still in my heart and she's motivated me to be a better human and a better surfer, and now become a better father and a family man.
100%. And it goes back to our last conversation of like being on the ground, like not being humiliated. I was telling Tahiti that like, I think humiliation helps me because it sets me at the bottom and I have a better perspective of what other people see. Because when I'm not at that level, I don't see maybe how other people see me or see what I'm doing or other things or my decisions. I think from the kids' perspective of them being at ground zero and being a little humiliated, their perspectives become stronger and better. It's the same thing for me, and it's being honest with that, like opening up the honesty, putting the ego aside, letting your emotions not talk, and actually just observing like, oh shit,
yeah,
this is where I got to pivot.
Yeah. It's, we try to play that game of worst case scenario, right?
Yeah.
Because when you really get down to it, if you keep playing that game of worst case scenario and you get down to like, what if, what are you afraid of? Oh, it's not being loved, right? And not being accepted and not being wanted and not being worthy, right? When at the end of the day, you don't have to do shit to get that, right? And we manufacture all these reasons to
you build these books and why this is why.
Yeah.
There's no reason but you and me. Like at the end of the day, that's the reason. And I think just coming back to that, remembering that life isn't about checks and trophies and fame and all that shit. Like at the end of the day, those things have made me, successful. They've given me this unbelievable life that I'm still a Grom living my dreams. But at the end of the day, like it's really about what happens at the home.
Yeah. There's a golfer, Scotty Scheffler. He was just, there's a couple sound bites after a tournament interview that he had on, and he said almost that exact same thing. You push, you win. Like you're super competitive. And he was like, I don't even know why I want this so much, but I do. You win these trophies, you come home, there's this big celebration in the news, and then you go home and you're changing diapers and you're just like, my family doesn't care. Like they do, but it's like, this is real life,
100%.
And it's empty, and that lasts. It's fleeting, right? It comes and it goes. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't, we shouldn't push all to be our best, right? It'd be the greatest. But at the end of the day, that's fleeting. right? The stuff that sticks is
Yeah,
the stuff that's happened behind those closed doors.
for
So,
sure.
yeah.
That's what I've learned.
Yeah.
Just the difference in some of the wins I've celebrated. Like the
Yeah.
first Jaws win the first time I won Jaws in 2015, I think the whole island partied for a week. Like we bought out every liquor store on the island. We had DJs. We went nuts.
I remember
People were
watching that.
flying over from Oahu.
Yeah.
And then the last one I won, I was actually on a plane. I won and I was on a flight at I think the award banquet was at 7 p.m. I was on a flight at like 8:30 with my trophy.
Yeah.
I was in bed on the North Shore of Oahu, flew to a different island, drove an hour. I was in bed before like 11 p.m. after winning my fourth title out at Jaws, and waking up in the morning with my kids and eating breakfast with them was so, it was so intense for me because I wasn't hungover. I wasn't like, I didn't have any like self-doubt or fear or like, oh shit, I'm guilty. I don't want to go see people. I feel like shit. Like this feeling of like, whoa, that really happened yesterday. And I'm with like my kids, they didn't look at me any different.
Right.
They weren't talking
Your
to me any
dad.
different. And I just have this intense feeling in my chest, like, but they're still here. And inside of me, I'm way up there. And it's like, I started to be like, whoa. And I told TD, I was like, that was the craziest like reward for me, was that feeling inside, but also the feeling of my kids, like nothing changed, like nothing. And that was a pretty rad transition and kind of a validation of why I haven't partied in 6 years, or why I kind of stopped drinking and moved certain things out of my life, was that like this reward of actually giving back is more rewarding than receiving a trophy or receiving something. Like if I can give back to my family and making them proud, and me not like having to celebrate and do all this, this can actually fulfill more for my life than actually going out and having a big party and making sure everyone's having a good time. It's like the fulfillment for a family is so much stronger than myself.
Do you feel like it's fuel too still for you? I mean,
100%.
that replacing that chip that I was talking about, it's fuel for you.
100%. Yeah. It's still so motivating for me. Like even I went and did an event in Peru 2 weeks ago, big wave event. It's been a while, and I was telling Lion, my youngest son, as he starts to compete, I just told him I'm gonna win. He goes, "How do you know you're gonna win?" I said, "Just because I know. Like I seen it already." He's like, "What do you mean you've seen it?" I was like, I seen it. Like I was in the sauna and I watched how the day planned out, and I knew how I was gonna win. And he was just like, "What?" Like he didn't understand it. I went down there. I got third place. They didn't end up running a final. I came back. He goes, "But you told me you're gonna win." I said, "Yeah, I know. I was gonna. I planned on winning. I did win." And he goes, "But you got third place." I was like, "I know, but I told you in my brain I won the event. Now I'm back here. I'm with you. I'm safe. You're safe. We're going on a trip actually tomorrow. We're going to Waco." We went to Waco the next day, and just having that conversation with him and watching his eyes spin of like, also the confidence of I won. Like I won. I went there. I came back. I did it. I did get third, but I like always telling him I did win.
Right.
I did win.
Right.
Was like, I think for him seeing that, he starts to understand like winning isn't just about what people tell you you did.
Yeah.
It's literally about how you feel.
Right.
And that's what I'm like really trying to translate to the kids, is like how you feel is how you celebrate, is how you dictate, your result. Because people are going to judge you your whole life. You can go on your phone and people are judging you right now
Constantly,
all day long. But and if you listen to them, you're going to lose your whole life. I have done that. Scary. The scary place to be is let people judge you and decide where you belong as far as like how you're winning and how you're celebrating on your day to day. Because if you're not celebrating those small victories on the day to day side of things, you're never going to be proud of yourself. And I think that's a scary place to be. And that's something I've definitely tried to push over and relate to the kids.
It's easy. It's easy to overlook those small little victories.
Yeah.
I see that all the time. We get caught up in the goal, you caught up in the goal, and you get caught up in the goal, and you lose sight of the little tiny things that you are doing as you're pushing forward to continue to get to that goal. And those small little things are victories in themselves. And it really does take a lot of discipline and self-control to stop in that moment and recognize the progress that you're actually making. And that's a really hard thing to do for myself. I struggle with that as well, but to convey to the kids too, like, no, these are victories. You need to give them attention.
Exactly. Yep. Losses can be victories as well.
Yeah. Lion. Since you mentioned him too, like he's special, man.
Yeah. It's weird how, I mean, all kids are special, but there's certain things in certain kids that just stick. And like, I look at him, I mean, he's 8 years old. He was at a serious point in my life, like a kind of a make or break situation. Right around the time my mom was fighting cancer and lost her life. And I think he was like this little spirit animal for me of like, one, he was not a fully developed baby and he had to fight a little for himself to be there and be here with me. So, which was very emotional during the time, but I was just in a rough place. And he gave me like this structure of like, I don't know, a never give up. I felt like had that, but he really injected this different energy. And it's crazy, like through Hayes, Nija, Zaya, everyone, like, I don't know, traveling, it's not that it's always hard to leave kids at home, but like the thoughts that Lion put into my brain, I don't know if it's because is more he's really close to what I do, and he wants to know.
He seems like he's watching.
Exactly.
Like just from an outsider's view, it seems like he's intentionally taking mental notes all the time.
Yeah, he's more learning off my actions, I feel like, than my other kids. My older boys, Nigel and Zaya, they're so into music, and I've absolutely
they're so talented.
Nothing to offer them on that
Which
side.
is the best part.
It's
right?
awesome. I'm a fan. I'm just a fan supporting. I don't know mistakes.
Yeah.
I'm there to, crack the whip when mom needs me to. Like, It's time to practice.
Yeah.
But I can't be sitting in the practice being like, what are you doing?
Right.
Because I don't know what you're doing.
Yeah. And that's such a blessing.
It is. And Hayes, he's been like
your waterman.
Yeah. And just kind of like I shouldn't say street kid, but just like hands on. My brother's a mechanic. When Hayes is around my brother, he's just all hands on. Like, I want to learn about that. I want to get involved in that. And
you were telling me about the knots and just wanting
exactly
to learn.
like fishing knots, boat knots. There's this quest to do things that are trades, are hands on, like really learning and studying and doing things. And Hayes is all in with that. And yeah, he loves watching me surf and compete, and he loves to surf. He loves the ocean, but there's no attachment. It's not like this is what I'm doing and what I'm going to do, where Lion has a little bit more attachment to what I'm doing. I don't know if there's, that like, I want to be my dad. I've seen kids like that. That's why, I have friends who are world champions in other, in the UFC or in another sport, and their kids truly idolize what they do. They want to be their father. And even in surfing, maybe that's the case for him. I can't give that answer. I don't know how he feels about me as far as that, but I do see him observing what I do more than any one of my kids. And
I see that too.
I see him relaying what I do, even the way he talks to his mom, like the littlest things. I'm like, holy shit, you're a sponge. Like, I got to be careful with some of my actions, because I can't let him attach on to some of the things I do. They're not things I'm proud of, some of my bad habits. But as far as like, the ocean side of things, the surfing, the competitiveness, I think there's a lot of similarities between Lion and myself, which I'm so excited about, but are also really scary. Because, it's like a competitor can be a beast to deal with.
Yeah.
It's really hard.
Yeah. No, I see it all the time. And it's like, I don't know, we talk about this as being like, you mentioned balance earlier, but, I consider it this mythical ridgeline where it's like, you kind of have to be all in, right? And it's more so of a pendulum that swings back and forth as opposed to this balance, because you want to facilitate that. You want to support that if you find that you have that, like that competitor, while at the same time, you want as a father to continue to have him focus on the things that you're focusing on right now and that you care about right now, right? After having lived it for so long, been at the very top and recognizing that there, although amazing, is some emptiness attached to that, right? So how can you continue to cultivate that, right? That courage, that insane winning mindset, while at the same time having him recognize that it's much bigger than that too. And that's a lot of pressure, as a dad to when you see it, to like, especially in a sport that you know very, very well, right? Because you can help in so many different ways, while at the same time, not to put pressure on you, but you can also derail it in so many ways as well. Right?
Yeah, it's scary. And it's like a fine line of too much, too little. And even the recent time I've had to have conversations with Tahiti, like, hey, we've been, I shouldn't say pushing the boys, but we've been guiding the boys since a really young age towards music. That's their passion. That's their love. And I said, sometimes should we go into the beach and be like, oh, no, you don't need to bring a surfboard. And I'll be like, yeah, you do, Lion.
Yeah.
And it's not that he's not like, he can't boogie board with his friends and play on the beach and play football in the sand and run around. But it's like, just, you need to have this there because this is a part of what you do. It's, you don't have to do it, but it's kind of a part of your habits. Like, we do this because there's an opportunity here. And if we attach to it, like, attachment is greatness for me. People can do things without being attached and they can be good at it. But in order to be great, you have to be attached and obsessed with it. And you can't really teach that. Like, for me, I wasn't taught that. I attached and got obsessed on my own. And that's all I can do for Lion is like, make sure it's there every day, not push it on him. Make sure it's there, kind of poke him like, hey, let's go, But when I talk about, like, even my older kids, you push me too hard. No, you don't know what pushing is. Like, pushing somebody is living on them, and that's all they do. I'm not waking you up telling you have to do this right now, all day, every day. I want majority of your day, I want to be fun and like enjoyment. I want a smaller part of your day to be sacrificing and making extra time for something that you need to. You have to cut out extra time. Like, there's got to be something in your day that you got to be like, shit, I got to give extra time to this. And there has to be a valid reason for that. And trying to kind of insist that into Lion at a young age of like, just even like, hey, let's do 15-minute heats, just one extra heat of surfing. And it's not for me, but it's for you to see the progression. It's for you to see something that you can maybe attach onto because you're seeing like, wow, I'm getting better. And it's the same thing with my older boys for music. It's like, as they start to get better and progress, they start to attach more because they want to get better. They want to be better than good.
Then it's not work anymore, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. No, we talked about that last night, or was it this morning? I can't remember, but about goals and passion and that conversation in the house. And if your children are telling you what their passion and their goals are with life, whether it be academic or whether it be sport, you're in a position to understand what it means to put in the work to get to that, right? And so translating that to them sometimes comes off as you're hard or you're pushing. You're like, no, this is the goal. This was the passion. I'm just telling you, I'm giving you the formula, right?
Yeah.
And so if you're telling me you want that, I'm telling you how to do it. And if you're not doing that, I'm telling you, you're probably not going to get that.
That's why I tell my kids, I'm like, hey, search an address. Okay.
Yeah.
It's going to give you probably on Google Maps, like 3 different routes to get there, right? One says 27 minutes. One says 45. Another one says 55. Me, I'm going to go on the 27. There's probably going to be 2 toll roads I got to pay extra for. And the road's probably going to be a lot more windy. But guess what? I'm okay with paying the price to get it done faster and smoother. Like, I know, and it relates to everything. Right. It's like, what map are you willing to take?
Yeah.
Actually, I'm going to go the straight shot. I want to get the ocean view. I'm going to go over here. It's free. Cruise. There's no toll road. Yeah, I'm going to take my time. I'm going to enjoy it. You do that. Because when you get there, I have already been there for days. I'm already ready. I'm already established.
Yeah.
It's like, the conversation you had with one of my friends yesterday on a call, like hey, there's a handful of ways we can get through this. And I can't tell you what to do, but I can give you your options. It kind of relates down to the kids and the same thing of being like, hey, there's a few different ways we can get you there. And this is my opinion on how to do it. Because if you can learn that sacrifice of paying that extra toll road, that extra price, it's just a small amount you're investing in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to be returned. You might not see it tomorrow, but self-investment into your own craft is going to be returned. Like, invest in yourself. I try to explain this to my kids, like, it's okay to pay a little bit of extra for yourself. It's okay. You're going to cut the time in half. You're going to get closer to what you're trying to get to. And that's, kind of like a map. It's, you get to pick and choose what way you're going to go and how you're going to get there.
I haven't heard you articulate it that way before. That is so true. It's because I'm like, I got goosebumps because that's all I've seen out of you. I mean, and not to transition away from that, because I think that was so powerful and I appreciate you sharing.
I'll pay every fucking toll road in the world to get to the destination.
That's all I've seen with you with regards to your recovery. And you're like, tell me, I'll be there tomorrow. I'll do this.
Yeah.
You just tell me what to do. And if it's going to help get me to where I need to go quicker and stronger and better.
Well, let's just say that was an extra, let's just put a number. Let's just say it's an extra $5,000, right?
Yeah.
For somebody watching this, well, you had to pay so much extra to go ahead and book your flight that night and get there and do that.
Yeah.
All right. So let's say me booking that, normally I would have been out for, let's just say 3 months. Okay. Me booking that, the extra $5,000, I'm going to cut that cut that 3 months into 6 weeks, a month and a half. That gives me 6.5 weeks of time to make $5,000. Like, I have a body that can fucking work, like, and it goes for everything in life, not just somebody who has a body that uses it for work. It's whatever you're trying to get to. If you can get to that sooner and healthier, and that's the thing too. I'm not just like rushing to that destination with like an unhealthy situation. I'm trying to enhance every corner of that map at like every bit of time, every toll road, every bump, everything I'm going through on the way to that destination. I'm taking advantage of everything. I'm not on vacation. I'm not looking for a good place to pull over and rest for a few days. It's full commitment, date the injury. Family, I love you guys. Instead of me being kind of half-assed for the next 3 months, I'm going to be gone for 6 weeks, cut it in half, and I'm going to come back all cylinders firing. I'll be in great shape to take on the family. I'll be healthy. I'll be strong. It's a different approach, but it's my approach. And I think it's very beneficial with not only the way I live as a professional surfer. I try to tell my kids, hey, take what I'm doing and learn from this. I'm telling you, if you can understand this at a young age and adapt it to music or sports or school or education or relationships, you're going to benefit from it,
Yeah.
Pay the price early.
Yeah.
Get it over with and get a head start.
And not to mention the mental side of sitting with that for a while, right? Like, I mean, we were talking about
self-doubt.
Yeah, exactly.
Insecurities. Right. I hate
they
it.
Stack up.
Like, I don't like, stacking up. And then you start thinking, oh, what time, how long, this and that. What if this happens? Winter. I'm going to miss the most important time of the year. I stopped thinking about winter being the most important part of the year. I used to only train for winter. Now I'm like, no. Training is maintenance. It's every day of the whole year. I got to look as tomorrow as being the most important day of my life every single day. Every day, tomorrow's the day. Every day, tomorrow's the day. It's not in a few months and it's, if I get injured tomorrow, the next day I'm missing out on. So I have to do it now. Like, it's not like, oh, well, I got an event. Maybe no.
Yeah. The present. This is the moment now.
Now, yeah.
And that's, I mean, as the doctor and the friend of you, and that's why I see you having so much success in those big arenas and the shows or the big wave comps and everything, is because you've prepared yourself knowing that's just another day. That's just another moment. You were
Yeah,
prepared for that. You were
everything's
prepared yesterday, the day
done before
before.
you get
Yeah,
there.
absolutely.
Everything's done.
Yeah.
Like that's where literally like people want to talk about like, oh, meditating or breath work. That's where I do all that is the days of competition. That's where I like block everyone out. I do everything before I get there. And then there's a point where I'm like, okay, everything I practice, everything I did every morning, every sacrifice, every toll road, everything I stopped for, it's all for this moment. That's like honestly the easiest day. The tunnel vision day where I don't have to answer, listen, or talk to anyone. Just full blackout. And I can do that like strictly off of what I've learned in life of through loss, through addictions, through sobriety, through parenting, through husband, through everything. Like I can block people out, no problem. I can lock in and just go foof. And it's easy. I could do that every day, but then I wouldn't be a present dad. I wouldn't be, remembered.
But
I
you can
wouldn't.
tap into that pretty easily.
Exactly.
Would you say that's a huge part of your success and
100%.
over and over and over again?
Yeah.
Because it's pretty ridiculous how successful you've been over and over again in those certain situations. So
yeah, I think it's the mind over matter,
Mhm.
using life as a roadmap, not as like a feel sorry thing.
Mhm.
I hate when people tell me how lucky I am.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, oh man, like I
You have
don't
no
like
idea.
telling people good luck.
Yeah.
Like I don't.
Yeah.
I like telling my kids, hey, right now we're gonna pray before you go on stage. You do not need luck. You need guidance and you need a good vibe. That's what you need. All the work is done. If you are comfortable with walking up on that stage, you don't need any
Yeah.
luck.
You default to the level of your preparation.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
need Godspeed. You've
Yeah.
done all the hard work.
Right. Right. No, I see that for sure. You've been awesome in the community too, as far as pushing people. Because I've always said, kind of getting back to what you're saying about just getting the information and getting going. And I struggle with people who don't even, I shouldn't say struggle. I really work and want to continue to work with them to help highlight and emphasize why we want MRIs, why we want the imaging, because I think there's so much fear in knowing. And I guess maybe you can understand that better than I can, but I'm always surprised by that, especially in elite athletes where they want to hold for a month or 6 weeks or 8 weeks or whatever. And I've been pushing in my own, in the medical community to push against what insurance says we can do, which is, get an x-ray and then do PT for 3 months. And then you can get authorization for an MRI and then you can get the information. But you've been a really loud voice in your community and outside of your community about just go and get the damn imaging, get the information so that you can actually start making changes moving forward. And I guess my question is more so like, where does that come from? Like, where does that resistance, not from you, but just in general, like, cause I know you help a lot of people, but that's been a struggle for me is really, cause I'm never going to push it on anyone, right? I'm never going to say you have to do this.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, I would, if I were you, I'd, get this information.
I think you have to be inspired outside of your craft. Like for me, it's like, I mean, look, you're not just listening to doctors on podcasts when you drive to work every day. Like you probably don't really have too much to hear from doctors. You're probably looking outside of doctors, and that's what it is for me. I'm not asking surfers on like, how to help me and how to inspire me. I think for me, like when you're looking at, that perspective, it's look how you build a house. You have to build a foundation, like you need photos, you need a blueprint, you need a layout. And you go to, you have records of everything, the floor space, the square footage, people don't hold on to the blueprint of their body as far as athletes from what I'm learning in the surf world. I ain't no NBA player, I ain't no NFL player. I don't know what those guys are doing and how I'm starting to learn as I, venture off and train a ton in LA and just outside of Hawaii and honestly just training with more other athletes, less surfers. My interest is huge with them. I love to see how they move and what they're doing. So as far as I think surfers are only recently started to be considered athletes.
Yeah.
Surfers.
And I'd say, I'm going to interject that. I'd say you're a huge part of that. And I'm not just saying that because you're a good friend, but like you coming on the scene and showing the behind the scenes of that preparation that you just described. But not only that, like being very vulnerable with your recovery from your injuries and pulling back the veil, if you will, of what it actually takes to be at the top. And that has only recently been, gosh, I'd say 5 to 7 years, something like that too. And you've been a big part of that.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. And I'm honored. And I've had a couple people tell me that. And I think guys like Laird Hamilton, Kelly Slater, Mick Fanning, there's certain people. And, Kelly's not like this training, advocate, but he has made a lot of sacrifices through health and wellness, recovery, nutrition that I think a lot of people are learning about him. He's also pretty closed off, so I don't think
He
a
is.
lot
He's
of
doing the work behind the scenes for sure.
exactly.
Yeah.
He's been doing Pilates and shit, like working on his
body
forever.
work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where I think Mick was one of the first guys. Sonny Garcia actually, with Rob Garcia. They came out. They were definitely training Kalani Rob, but I think I'd say the last 10 years, I think surfing has cleaned itself up.
Yeah.
And
taking themselves more seriously.
More serious, taking recovery, taking the medical side of things a lot more serious and prioritizing them. And I think with that, people are starting to learn about their bodies. And it's like, for me, people get hurt. Oh, what should I do? How long should I rest for? I'm like, well, you should, first of all, know how you're. Oh, yeah. Well, I went and seen a doctor and he said, this is what I did. Okay. Did he see inside of you? No. Well, even for yourself, it's like, we could be on Tavarua together and I could hurt my knee and you can assess me and you're not going to be like, hey, your ACL's a grade 4. Yeah. We need surgery. You could just be like, it's your ACL. Like, you're not going to give me a diagnosis right there. And I could be like, oh, well, maybe it's not too bad. I'm going to just try to heal it. And you're like, well, you should get an MRI so maybe it's in the long run. No, it's okay. I think I'm going to be fine. They're going to text you or call you in 6 to 8 weeks saying that they still haven't surfed and there's some instability. And when they walk, they're not feeling good. And what's happening? And well, we still haven't got that MRI. And then they're going to get an MRI 2 months out. And then, oh shit, you do need surgery. And then they could be healing and back on a board within a month of when they're actually getting their surgery. But now that's pushed back 4, 5, 6 months because of this, that. And yeah, I think for me, it's just like prioritizing seeing what's wrong, like getting a visual. And I try to tell my friends like, back to the self-investment. What you guys are, hey, $500 is a lot of money. Will spend my last $500 and go gamble on tomorrow. If I'm dead broke and I got $1,000 in my savings and I got a serious knee issue, I'm going to spend that money on my knee because the only way I'm going to be able to make money back is with a strong knee. Mm-hmm. It's like, I got to invest into it.
Yeah, absolutely. So. Yeah. And that's the shift, right, that we're seeing too as well. And even though it's coming slow, more and more people are recognizing that longevity is the play here, right? And you can get back for a winter and kind of be at 50% and it may be great. You may get the shot or whatever, but what are you in March? You know what I mean?
Yeah. And at the end of the day too, like your injuries heal, but things are still there, especially when you do an operation and there's synthetic equipment in your body. Having an MRI of that original injury is very key and clutch to the longevity of your life, especially if your body is part of your career, which it's my priority of my career. And every one of my friends who's in my world for business, I tell them, I'm like, oh, grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, whatever your tear is, your break, do you have an image? Okay, well, save that. Hold on to that. That's going to come back in life. That's why you're going to feel that. And it's good to be like, well, let's look at what it was.
Yeah. Do you think it's your experience with injury or is that something? Because, I met you.
I think it was you. Let's give the real answer. Come on.
No, man. When we met, you were already, we weren't talking about injury and recovery, but you were talking optimization at a very early stage. And I guess my question is around is like, you were early adopter in recognizing that 1, get as much information as you can, but 2, you can do better than just letting things heal on their own. And that's kind of where we wrapped on in Tavarua. And we're like, dude, yeah, this is the world that I'm going into. And I've built up, a knowledge base in and around and putting research towards. And you're like, this is what I'm thinking about. And I'm just like, dude, yeah, I haven't never heard anyone talk about it the way that you did from a professional
I think it came from nothing, like not having anything and not having just opportunity, like not having opportunity to I had the door shut on me my whole life. Closed door, closed door, closed door. That I will break through that door. There's nothing that's going to stop me from it. And it's like, now it's to the point of how fast can I get through the door? You know, you can tell me no, 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 no. I will find a way and an opportunity to overcome and
It's the
conquer that.
cyborg story you were telling me about.
Yeah, it's like, hey, you know, there's a dog who gets left in a home. You know, that dog's probably going to look around and it's used to being fed. It's probably going to starve. And then there's the dog that gets left at the beach. That's like the wild dog on the street. That dog's going to eat all day out of the trash can. It's going to find new people. It's going to find its way around town. That's who I was.
Yeah,
and that's what Kyborg always, he's like, hey, the dog on the street knows how to eat.
Yeah.
And he's like, when you see food, you can identify it very easily. And that's what it is for me. It's like, you know, I did have great parents. You know, I wasn't homeless. I wasn't on the street. I had beautiful homes. I had amazing food every night. I did have a horrible separation, divorce through my parents, and that was really rough as a child. But I was never homeless. For sure, I was poor. My mom EBT like that for sure. But as far as like, I wasn't starving realistically. But for opportunity, when it came to my career and what I wanted to do, I was starving for opportunity because no one believed in me. No one gave me the chance. Teenager, late teens, you know, I wanted to be a professional surfer, and I was just getting doors shut on me left and right. And when I did break through and find a victory, like, it was so rewarding that it really just proved to myself that like no is never going to be an option.
Yeah. And you can control it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I saw that from the very beginning, just in and around the information gathering, and your ability to not only understand, but retain and apply is so powerful. And I do see that. I see athletes who have their first injury, and they're, as you know, you've seen it, like they're unraveling, right? Like, because one, it's new and they haven't really had opportunity to speak to anyone to help highlight or shine light on what actually is going on and to quantify the injury and talk about the outcome of it. But you get wiser and wiser and wiser through injury and then through recovery, and you learn every step along the way how to do it better the next time, or what are the mistakes that you made in this one, and how can I put myself in a better position? Because you're right, we carry our injuries with us. You know, despite having the most optimal treatment at that time, pathology will continue to exist. And you're a perfect example of being able to live and coexist with your pathology at the highest level, but it takes work and it takes maintenance. And part of that is just taking intentional understanding and learning about it and applying the information that you have. And I guess that's my hope in this discussion, which admittedly, if I had to go back to, and I digress a bit, if I had to go back to why I even started this podcast to begin with, it started with you. No, I'm just saying that it started with you because I saw behind the scenes of all the things that you were doing, and we did together, and we learned together, and we grew together, not only from the hip but you know, through the knee and through everything else. And I feel like there's so much powerful information in your journey and in your recovery and your optimization and your training that even if someone listening could just take a bite-sized, you know, piece of it, it would exponentially improve not only how they mentally approach their injury, but how they approach their training and how they approach their recovery. And they don't have to do it exactly Billy's way, but just to say, hey, you have control, right? And you can take control of this more so than you think you can, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you know, I think that's, if there's something to take away from it, is to hold your own control, to be, you know, to be that prioritizing your control is definitely something that I try to pass on and inspire to everyone, is like having control of your, whether it's your injury, whether it's your career, you know, like being able to control that balance. That's the hardest thing to do. And I've learned the hard way, the good way, every way. And yeah, just putting yourself first and understanding that like slow is smooth and smooth is fast as well. Like, I do move really fast, but I've also learned how to, like, in certain scenarios, you have to slow down for things to speed up.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. You do a good job of changing your environment too. And you talk about that a lot with those who you mentor and those who you give advice to, is like, listen, you're just going to sit here and spiral and you're just torturing yourself. Change your environment, go heal, go give this 100% attention. Right?
For sure. If I'm sitting on the North Shore of Oahu hurt,
yeah,
there's one thing I look at every time I get in my car: the ocean. It's like pure FOMO, like immediate, just like, and that creates like this wanting something that I physically can't do, which takes away positive energy that could be like healing. I could get pissed off and just like go do something else that's going to cause inflammation, that's going to put me back 3 days. 3 days is 3 days past the day I wanted to surf and whatever. When I leave Hawaii, you know what my program is, and it's not it. Part of it is the technology and what's accessible outside of Hawaii. The medical world is lacking so much in our state, with the amount of professional athletes, with the UH football team, with everything, surf capital of the world where surfing was born. The medical world is horrible in Hawaii, especially on the recovery and therapy side of things. And I do leave because of that. But on another note, I also leave to change my environment, because if I can jump into an environment where surfing isn't the everyday like priority, when I go, let's just say I go down to where I go is I normally, my protocol is what I'll just lay it out here.
That's what we're going for.
You want it, you got it.
Yeah.
No, first things first is an image, right? We see what's wrong.
Right.
All right.
Absolutely.
Okay. If it is a situation where there's a procedure involved with you, first thing, fly here, get the procedure done. And normally I'm to Orange County, which is range therapy, Dr. G, physical therapist, chiropractor. He's been my right-hand man my whole career.
Such a healer, such a
Sonny introduced me to him, and the rest is history from there. And it's not only what he has to do with his hands and his technology, it's just his sense of humor, his vibe, and being around him. He helps me heal mentally, and so do you. And it's a team of like communicating, and literally be there with him sometimes the day of surgery. I've seen him the same day I've had surgery with you up here.
And you introed to me to him like a handful of years ago. It took me 5 seconds to realize what it was about him. That you saw too.
That's why you go there.
Yeah.
And then on the side of that, I have Pat Tenori, who's the owner of Tenori. He created Ruka. He's opened up a facility not only for him and his people, but also our team with the Tenori crew, with all the athletes, with hyperbaric, with CVAC, with red light, with the best training equipment on planet Earth. Like I have access, and a lot of people, like I want them to know I'm also like, I've found these places and put together protocols. It's not just like come to Dr. Masi and he fixes me and I'm just healed. It doesn't work like that. You're like, no, Billy's program is not just what I do. It's what he does after he leaves here.
Before and after.
Exactly. And it's sleeping in a hyperbaric 7 nights a week. Like every night I'm going to bed in a hyperbaric, putting like 3 to 5 hours per day in one. Doing the red light, doing there's certain diets I work on when I'm injured. There's certain foods I'm, doubling down on and trying to heal. And it's just all a part of that protocol. And when I'm down there in Orange County, there's so much business and opportunity going on. I'm at the Tenori HQ. There's people working. There's the Rotolo brothers, the greatest jiu-jitsu, martial artists on planet Earth. These kids are freaks. They're in there. There's so much shit going on that the only thing people are talking like, oh, yo, it was sick. Winter's coming up. It's not like, how's the waves today?
There's not that froth or that urgency.
Like, I can kind of like, it's not that I can hide it, but I'm like, oh, you're up here working. Like, oh, you're up here. 8 a.m. you got Dr. G's. 11 a.m. you're doing brain therapy with Wave Neuro. Then 12 you're in the chamber, and then you're going back for body work, and then you're going to go train with Joe, and then you're going to do some foundation with Jesse. I have like 6 appointments in a day. Like there's no like, oh, I'm going to go do physical therapy, then I'm going to hit the gym, and then I'm going to pick my kids up and look at the ocean and lose my mind that I can't surf. Like that's real. I have nerves. I have emotions. I'm a human being. These are things that I've learned to take away from me to heal. Like it's crazy, but it really does work. It cuts the time in half. It takes away like.
Absolutely.
And I've told my wife like, hey, for the next little bit, I have to date my injury.
Yeah.
I have to prioritize my knee. My knee is who I have to say goodnight to and good morning to.
You were saying that we were at your house. I can't remember who you were talking to, but I love that. Go
It's
on that.
so
for sure.
real. You got to turn your
It's
knee
got to be
into
your everything. Yeah.
You got to be obsessed with her.
Yeah.
Straight up. Like, go buy her Gucci bag, buy her the best dinner, you know, elevate her all day, every day. If there's one thing you're doing to piss her off or put her backwards, there ain't no way you're going to get her.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I look at it.
Yeah.
Like, you got the dream girl, you know, you got to be obsessed and, you know, this is your wife. This is your chance. You got one chance left at your wife.
You're full of good analogies.
Don't fuck it up.
Don't fuck that up. It's so good.
Yeah.
What does someone do that doesn't, and that's amazing. That's awesome. And we've seen the results of that, right? Not only from the durability, which is
and that's not for an everyday person too.
Yeah,
like that's for an obsessed person who needs their body to provide for a family. At the end of the day too, like I tell people like, hey, you don't need my mind in the way I think. I have 4 kids. I go paycheck to paycheck. I do not have no trust fund. I do not have somebody paying my bills. I do not have a nanny. I have an unbelievable wife. She has a great family, a couple sisters, a couple brothers. I have a brother who lives on Maui who's like my father. He raised me. Carl is everything to me.
Love Carl.
But as far as like everyday help and assistance, I don't have that. And that's part of why I'm always on that fight or flight. It's a do or die thing for me. And that's why I tell people like, hey, you might not have the same mentality in mind as me because I have a different structure in front of me. My day-to-day is not your day-to-day. Like it's all in all day, every day.
But at the same time, like the responsibilities that you have at home, which, you know, are yes, obligations, but also things that you want to be part of in and around your family, take away the time, you know, for you to be able to do that and for you to carve out that time is so important. So I guess what I'm saying for the listener is that like, listen, this guy's got 4 kids, you know, a wife, and he's making it happen while at the same time prioritizing your health. So it's easily done if you decide you want to put the attention to it and actually do it. And it doesn't have to be that version of it, like that exact version, but there's things that you can do to improve the way that you're healing. Absolutely.
100%. And it's how bad do you want it? It's like anything. And that's why I try to tell people, I'm like, how bad did you want your job? How bad did you want your career? That's where you got to position it, you know?
I think the mindset is that, and hopefully it's shifting. I think more and more of these conversations are helping with that, but the mindset needs to shift that you actually do have more control than you think you do over the outcome, right? It's like, we think we have the procedure, we think we have the injury, and things are just going to heal, right? Things are just going to get better, but it has to be very, very active for you to get the results in the time that you want. And then so that you have that durability in the future, that you mentally can be confident that you're going to be fine physically wherever you are, whether it's in the ocean, on the mat, on the field, in the arena, whatever.
Yeah. I think for me, it's funny. Like you're probably so used to that question of like, when can I return to sport with the athletes? Like, when can I go back? When can I surf? When can I roll on the mats? When can I do this? And like, I think when people ask that, it's like everything, you know, it's like if they don't do it by then, they kind of fail. And sometimes people like just wait for that, where you tell me a time or like, you know, maybe around here. And in my mind, I'm thinking I'm going to do everything I can to be ahead of you. Like, you helped me get here, and now you're just completely guessing off of how dedicated I am.
Absolutely.
And in that, for me, I think it's also like, I'm a huge overachiever in surfing. I'm not the God-gifted surfer who had all the talent as a kid. Like, you look at me in a room with a bunch of talented surfers and they'll be like, oh, he's going to outwork them. He's not as good as them, but he's going to outwork them. He's a competitive, like that's, I think.
I've seen that and I've heard that in and around the circles too.
Exactly. So, and I can be honest with it now with where I'm at in my career. And I think I take that to the injury. I'm like, all right, Masi said this, I'm going to do this. And it's not that I'm going to go against you.
No.
But I'm going to come back to you and be like, hey.
You understand the reality. You said it. Yeah. I struggle with it too in our world of quote unquote return to sport.
How do you read someone?
Yeah, absolutely. Because there's the physical side of healing, right? The cellular side and the physical side, but I have no idea what's going on up here.
Exactly.
And I don't even know if they are listening to what's going on up here, right?
And you have no control over that.
Exactly. Yeah. And you've said it before, like after such and such injury, I wasn't ready at this time, or at such and such injury, I felt ready at this time. And that's an intuition, one, that you get better at through experience, but two, again, is not anything we can ever control. So we can say 9 months to 12 months or whatever. We can get MRIs. We can look at imaging all day long and talk about the cellular process of healing and what percentage the graft is or whatever percentage of healing is at this point. But ultimately, we don't know how well they healed throughout that process. What did they do to improve the quality of healing, to get blood flow and circulation to the area, to get cells dividing and all the different things that you do, versus someone that just sat passively and expected things to kind of heal. And then mentally, that proprioception and that confidence of going out isn't there. And I don't know that, right? They can tell me all day long that they feel good. And we have metrics to look at things and how they respond with time and size of thighs and everything else like that. But ultimately, we don't know, right?
No, you have no idea.
Yeah. And it's a lot of it is that last kind of mental hurdle, that last, am I going to be good when I go out there, is similar to what you were saying about in those moments when you can zone it out. It's about that preparation, and it's about knowing that you put everything into it when you went, when you were going through the recovery process, that you separated, that you changed your environment, that you actually were proactive in your recovery and you took an active role in it and not just a passenger in the process. So,
yeah. I think that's it too. It's like, I mean, you've told me before too. It's like, why, and people have seen me surf in a knee brace.
Yeah.
But it's like most of the time I do my best to, everything's done before I'm in there, in the water, you know, and whether it's knee brace.
Well, you've become super patient. I mean, you've always been really patient. You've really,
but also really knowing like what 100% is,
Yeah.
you know, like just a couple months ago, I had probably the worst wound of my career, of my lifetime.
Yeah.
And it was kind of a unanswered return.
Yeah.
Like, what is this?
It's not a common thing.
Right? Yeah. Your board never stabs you through your hamstring, you know,
your bone.
Femoral arteries there. You got so much tissues and tendons.
That was so gnarly.
How does like a muscle belly heal? And it's like, for me, not knowing that and just being like, oh, what does this look like? But then being like, you know what? I can do a lot on the side of this, and you know, without having an infection.
Yes.
Next thing you know, I'm like, oh shit, 2 weeks out, my cut's healed.
Yeah.
3 weeks, I'm moving. 4 weeks, I'm back to normal. 5 weeks, I'm better than I was.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was the conversation around that injury is, okay, let's focus on what are the priorities in this moment. In that first week, it's like, okay, let's make sure this thing doesn't get infected. The nose of your board went through your leg. Yeah. You know what I mean? And there's
in
debris
Mexico, in the dirty water,
fiberglass in your leg.
Runoff.
Yeah. So it's like, let's not talk about return. Let's make sure that we don't have to go in there and wash your leg out. Right.
Exactly.
And then once we get through that, okay, let's get your range of motion back. How does that feel? You know,
and that's what that was for me. It wasn't like, oh, we just repaired your MCL. It's going to be good and you can start moving, or it wasn't a PRP injection. It wasn't this, like there wasn't a protocol.
Yeah.
So you're like, well, you know, when I talk to you, first priority is like, don't sweat, don't get an infection.
Yeah. Yep.
Done deal.
Yeah.
That's what I was working on.
Nothing starts.
I was elevating my leg. I was in clean environments.
Yeah.
I was cleaning this thing daily. I literally was little to no like foot movement through the day, trying not to like get that place irritated or aggravated. And that's what it was, is just prioritizing the moment in front of you.
Yeah.
I think is what people kind of get lost from with returning from an injury.
They're too busy looking out here.
Yeah. They look for the finish line, and it's like, if you don't have like a hard number time frame, look at like what's the present opportunity, what's the goal for today. You know, Mark McMorris had always told me, and that's where I use the word celebrate the small victories, was he was that guy who was like, if you're looking at coming back and winning Jaws again, he's like, get fucked. He was like, you're tripping. He's like, look at 3% of range of motion on getting your scar tissue down. And I was like, what? He's like, stop thinking about, because I was like, I don't know if I'm going to surf this winter. And
you're talking about after your Morocco injury.
Yeah, and he was like, slow down.
Yeah.
Slow down. He's like, did you break your, like, where are you and Dr. G at with range of motion right now? Oh, I'm at, 27 degrees on extension or whatever, He's like, well, when you get to 29, call me. I was like, what? Next day I get to 29. He's like, 20. Fuck yeah, congratulations. I'm like, oh, I'm getting closer to the result. Like, I took a step forward. Like, the finish line's still so far. Like, that goal of winning Jaws or being back out there is so far, but I did get forward today. Like for a while, that's why in some of those injuries, I was backwards. You know, you start to like question, self-doubt, all that. And
Well, especially in a situation like that where not only did you almost die from, swallowing all that water and then developing pneumonia and empyema in the lungs, but the trauma to the pelvis and then the quad injury completely derailing. And that's, I think something that we knew was a possibility and or a huge probability post ACL and MCL and meniscus kind of recovery, but how much it affected your ability to move forward with the quad and the range of motion afterwards, and seeing other ACLs kind of come back a little bit quicker, you start spiraling. And I remember having those conversations and reminding you, and you were great. I mean, you would always talk about 1% or 0.1%, every day, just a millimeter, a degree a day or whatever it is, those little mini victories. But you're faced with this comparison too, to see kind of people coming back and recognizing that not only are we staring at that injury, that ACL and that recovery, but you went through a gnarly trauma, and that really took a little bit
the
to
comparing aspect during an injury is
Yeah.
you can relate to people, but don't compare.
Yeah, it's real.
It's so real.
Yeah.
And that's what I've tried to tell my friends. I'm like, don't compare yourself to me. And even me and John have talked about this. We've compared our scars, everything, just like, don't relate to me. And it's everyone, like, you know, certain injuries, you're in different mind places. You know, there's just so many variables that come into consideration when you're going through a healing process. And I think a lot of athletes rebound off of each other.
Mhm.
Like, hey, how long? You know,
Yeah.
what about this?
Sure.
Do not.
Yeah.
Don't relate. Like, you know, that's why I, told the patient that you're speaking to yesterday, I was like, do this and do that, and this is where you'll be in January. Not like, how long, Billy, was it when you? Well, guess what? I didn't just have an ACL. I had two other ones, and my ACL tear was in a different place than your tear, you know?
Absolutely. Different procedures,
He
different
could be doing a quad graft where I did a hamstring graft.
Yeah.
There's just so many different.
And your nervous system, where it was at, the health, right? You lost so much weight.
Yeah, I was
you
in a horrible,
you were in a
like the
horrible
first
state.
couple of months of that injury
that was gnarly.
It was just trying to get my immune system and everything firing and back up together. And I think that's what took longer than honestly anything, was getting my mental health back.
I feel like our bond was forged through that, man. That
for
was
sure. A lot of my bonds were like, I never told anyone in my life I wanted to give up.
Yeah.
Ever. Like that was the first time I've ever said that out of my mouth. Like, I got 24 hours, and if you guys can't get me out of here, I'm over it. Like, I don't want to live like this. This is like, I'm crippled right now. I'm suffering. I'm in pain. I'm disgustingly dirty. There was just where I was and the environment, the feelings, everything. That, that was a place that I don't ever need to go back to.
Lane and WSL did an amazing job of representing a little bit of what you went through, but I would say personally didn't even come close to showing how heavy that was in those moments. And me being up in the middle of the night, talking to Tahiti and Koa and whoever else was involved, wondering if you were going to make it to when the sun came up the next day, and the amount of resistance we were getting from that hospital out there. And I know that they have to play the political game and be nice with regards to that, but I'd be okay taking the heat on it, man. That was fucked. Like,
yeah.
I mean, that was some heavy times for sure.
Yeah. And not to mention where the United States was with COVID-19.
Yeah. Oh, the timing. Everything. So.
Yeah. Life, you got to be grateful.
Yeah, for sure. No, and it's part of your story, and it's part of who you are, and can always go back and ask why and what, and second guess and do all the things I'm not saying you do, but we all can, right, in scenarios like that. But the alternative is exactly what you said, is like, I'm here.
For sure. I mean, that for me was like, yeah, I mean, anyone who hasn't seen it, I'm not telling you to watch it, but if you guys do have interest, go for it. 2019 was probably competitively the best year of my life. And ego was probably at the highest it ever was. So maybe it was just a blessing in disguise. I think I learned way more than I lost, I should say, from that.
You grew from it.
100%.
Yeah.
Reconstructed a knee, broke my pelvis, tons of other injuries and pains and aches that remind me every day today that I'm a better person now.
Yeah.
Every one of those pains and aches reminds me that I'll probably never drink alcohol again. That knocked alcohol and drugs out of my system. I'm not saying I'm going to go sober for the rest of my life, but that was a huge turning point in pushing out things and prioritizing my life as a father, as an athlete, as a friend, everything that really, like, I'm grateful for it. As wild as those doctors were in Morocco and the communication and the feeling of wanting to give up, like I said, being at the bottom, you see a lot. And that was the ultimate bottom for me, like rock bottom. I've had loss. I've lost my mom. I know it. That's like, but I had her for 27 years. But being at the bottom of, like, your body giving up, your body not wanting to cooperate, the medical side of a third world country that doesn't want to help you in a way that will enhance your situation, like, that was just different for me. And yeah, when I just going through that as a whole, I think it was the right place and the right time, because it built me into. I don't think this conversation we'd be having right now would be the same. Like, it's just the wisdom, the time frame, everything. It all happened, and I think it actually will help. The longevity will help me as Billy grow into a better father and a better husband and a better athlete to my sport. I just think that more people will, I don't know. I mean, the goal is to inspire and motivate, but I don't want to tell people, like, I'm inspiring you or I'm motivating you.
Right.
I can't motivate you unless you are truly inspired by what I do.
Yeah. All you can be is your honest and true, authentic self. And if they're
Exactly.
inspired by that,
But I
great.
do know that I have had a person tell me I did inspire them from that. And I told them, you are the reason why I did this. It only took one person. And I've had a lot of people write me, tell me, but the first person that told me, that was when I was like, okay, it was worth it. The whole Morocco thing, the wanting to give up, everything, it was worth it. It was worth me coming back and getting to this point, because that person is now a better person because of what I went through.
Yeah. I love that. Tyler Bierman was on here and he said, gratitude is easy to preach, hard to practice. And I feel that I see it in you. Obviously, the gratitude is authentic. It's real. Like, it's not just lip service. I can see it. You live it. You truly are grateful. And it's hard to actually look back and say, oh my God, I'm grateful for that. But I can see it. And I can feel it. You're absolutely living it.
Yeah.
I want to talk real quick about training and how you think about that too as well. Just in day to day, like you said, it's become who you are, and it isn't about preparing for the winter anymore. It's a daily thing that you're doing all the time, and more specifically about how you go about it. Meaning, like, you do a bunch, you trial and error, you work really close with Kahea, you work with Jesse, you have a whole team that you're constantly tinkering, right? As well as knowing, like, the core. Sometimes, and you even said it before, sometimes I need to push weight and I need to get those acid baths, and sometimes I need to do that, and sometimes I need to go light and listen to my body and change and do different things like that. Like, you and Kaya seem to have a great connection with that. And how do you think about all that? Or do you let him guide you with it?
No, it's just as soon as I hear this, I just think of Allen Iverson for some reason. Yeah. When they talk about, there's an interview, Allen Iverson's, you want to talk about practice? You want to talk to practice with me about practice?
Yeah.
No, I just think that, even this injury being a blessing in disguise, there's certain flags that just, when I hear things and see things, it's like, now training is every day. I understand a fight camp. Okay, you need to take a day off to recover. You need to do this. What I do, there's no reason. There is no day off. As a father and as a husband, there's no day off. As an athlete, like, my days off are active recovery. Like, there's things that have fulfilled what a rest day is. A rest day is not a day off. It's a day. I actually do shit tons of movement on a rest day because that's how your body recovers well. You do not recover well laying down all day with no blood circulation at all. You know, there's so many modalities, even down to the point of like swimming and walking. Like there's huge things that can help with that. And yeah, Kahea Hart, man, when we talk about that word practice or training, he's definitely like, I mean, my career, uh, the direction I've taken in life with health, with nutrition, honesty as a man to my wife. I think a lot of that comes from him. Like father figure, probably him and my brother Carl, the most inspirational people of my upbringing. Like from 20 years old to today, 35, Kahea has inspired me more than any single individual to be the best Billy. Not like the best person, but to like, he strictly wanted Billy to find the best version of himself. Stop comparing yourself to Kai Barger, to Dusty Payne, to John, to anyone else. Focus on you. Let's find the best you. What is your strength? What is, what's that thing that you have that they don't? And he found that discipline. He found the hard work ethic, and he was able to like kind of really show me like through his actions. Kind of, I guess I started to really watch him and articulate and start to take in the things that he was doing, that I really like valued him as a person. A lot of people look at Kahea and they're intimidated, like, oh, he's so strong, intense, and serious. And then I see him with the way he works with little kids, and they're like, Uncle Kahea, like he's a big teddy bear. It's just like, it's what you see is not like, yeah, he's very strong looking, very confident, very serious looking, but it's what he practices and what he does. He's just trying to pull the best version out of each person he works with. Yeah. He's not trying to make them like himself. He's not trying to make him like the last best pro surfer. He's finding your strength and your weaknesses, and he's going to break those weaknesses, and he's going to enhance those strengths. Yeah. And I think that's what's so valuable.
There's a lot
of
of raw honesty there with him, and accountability.
So much like he's going to say criticism.
He's going to say the things that people are afraid to say.
And I can be on the other side of the world and feel his accountability. Yeah. Like, and that's been, I think, such a huge part of our relationship and our communication, is like, he's actually called my team managers at a point in my career and told them, you need to sit down with him. Like, and I've been like, wait, what? You're calling my sponsors telling me I'm fucking up? Like, but then now at this point of my career, I'm like, thank you so much, Kahea. No one else was doing that for me. Fuck, my dad wasn't doing that. It's like, I had Kahea, and realistically, that's who I needed and what I needed to get to where I'm at with my career. And the training that we've developed, he was a student under Rob Garcia. Rob Garcia was a strength and conditioning coach for Oscar De La Hoya during Oscar's peak years in boxing. And Kahea got to go up to Oscar's camps up at Big Bear and spend quite a bit of time through the summer on those, learning strength and conditioning, speed and agilities, cardiovascular, just a bit of everything. And under the trainer Rob, he learned a ton. He started to study on his own and got a ton of different degrees and started to piece together his own formula. We do a ton of CrossFit stuff. We do a ton of Pilates. We do a ton of gymnastica. We do a ton of powerlifting, a ton of foundation, speed and agilities, circuit training, XPT training, Wim Hof. Like, we do not stick to one thing. We've created a formula that works best to make Billy his best, to make Erin Brooks her best, to make Betty Lou her best, to make Barron his best, to make Jamie O'Brien his best, to make Makua his best. Like, it's been formulated for each individual. And that's what's so unique about Kahea is one, this is my opinion. You guys can argue with me. You can say whatever you want. There's not a personal trainer in the surf world who has the time, knowledge, and credibility in the ocean as him. As far as how well he surfs, how well he understands the ocean, I mean, he's one of the best surfers in the world as far as like long term, all conditions. He's so well rounded in the fundamentals of like the foundation of a surfer. He knows them so well. And when he can bring the gym to the wave and transition that, look what Erin Brooks is doing. Like, she has God gifted talent that has work ethic like I do. Like Kahea has been able to inject this like hard work and dedication into her that is so scary that when this girl finds her place on tour, mark my words, there's going to be multiple world titles. Her work ethic, like she loves to work. She enjoys practice. A lot of people don't enjoy practice. I love practice. I can't wait to practice every day. Like it's what I like to do. And she's the same with that. And she's been able to take Kahea's criticism and use as fuel and fire to better her weaknesses and make herself better. Mm-hmm. And that's what he is really good at if you're open to
receptive.
If you are receptive to it. If you are not, I've seen kids crumble up and break and they're gone.
I've seen that with them as well.
It happens. And I think it's almost needed early on in careers to, I wouldn't say force it on kids, but just really, show it to them, open it to them. They're going to see everything in life, and they're going to see drugs. They're going to see alcohol. They're going to see hard work. They're going to see laziness, easy work, gratitude, everything. And they need to know how to act when it presents itself with whatever it is in life. And I think when you're able to be able to articulate and kind of take in criticism to correct yourself and make yourself better at a young age, like you have such a big advantage of being ahead and becoming one of the greatest at whatever you do in life. And I think that's his specialty, is like really helping kids and helping people like break their weaknesses and show them that like their weakness is actually their strength. Like we can make that your strength. And he's been very good on that with me of, turning my weaknesses into my strengths for sure. And finding the right formulas to overcome them. And that's why our formula through training is so broad. It's so wide. We use so many
different. That's why I ask. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just like, wherever we're at in the season, I mean, there is no season. It's every day.
Yeah.
But we go through different programs. Right now, we're on week 7 of who are we? We're doing a strength program through Gary Brecker. No, I forget who it was. It was a really rad 8-week strength program. And we know right where we're leaving off. We're leaving off in like right at the beginning of October. We have a month of like speed and agilities and powerlifting 5 days a week. And then once we get to know like the ending of October, we move into a ton of like ocean work, a ton of beach workouts. We still are in the gym, like in the gym 3 days a week. I'd say 3 days a week on the beach, but like not just surfing. And that's why I tell people it's not like, oh, the beach isn't like we're going to surf. We're actually bringing gym equipment to the beach and we're translating kettlebells, medicine balls, bungees, a bit of everything, transitioning the gym to the beach to the ocean and kind of turning that circuit. Like we make a circuit training and a wave, riding a wave is part of the circuit to kind of get you to that place of like you're competing, you're fatigued, your heart rate's through the moon. You're on a time frame. You're in an AMRAP, as many rounds as possible in that time frame. And you also have people biting on your heels. We're not competing to win anything, but we're all competing in the time to how many rounds can we do this? We're training together. And
competition.
it's as close as running a mock heat as you can get with like that lactic acid buildup in your legs, the emotion, the stress, like everything's there. And
Yeah.
that's
Trains your
where,
hyper focus.
exactly. And that's where you practice your blackout, where you practice the flow state. Like, how well can I block people out when I'm under pressure?
Mm-hmm.
And he's created something that I have yet to see through any other trainer in the world. And that's why I don't even say I'm his student. Like, I don't know. I don't even know what I'm at this point. Like, I'm not his son. Like, he's definitely my mentor. And um, yeah, it's pretty cool, even to the point of like him asking me to like, oh, can you help him while we're training? And it's like an honor. I'm like, whoa, coach is like putting it in my hands. And it almost like makes me emotional, like thinking about like all this time, all the time he's told me I've done this wrong. My form's this, we got to work on this.
And now he's ushering you.
Yeah. And now I'm like, the
Yeah.
criticism worked.
Yeah.
You know, it was applied. And now, and I try to teach and, you know, teach and help in my own ways. But yeah, it's definitely an honor knowing that all the information that he's embedded with me is like, it's locked in.
Mhm.
It's not like,
Yeah.
it's not things I hold in, it's things I practice daily.
Yeah. And obviously part of benefiting, or the big part of benefiting from that, is being receptive. But he himself, in my experience with him, obviously through Jet, but also just in and around injury and recovery, is as receptive as anyone I've ever worked with as well. Right. Meaning, he'll call me or text me or video or whatever. And he's like, okay, like they're dealing with this, this, and this, and this injury. I have an MRI. Like, we want to do this. How does this feel? Right. How does this, going to affect the recovery, or how this compromise things? And he just is constantly trying to learn to get better, and his understanding of the body. As it relates to surfing and training and the waves and preparation, but also pure just anatomy, and physiology, and really having a good grasp of what that, because he's dealt with stuff himself, but also being able to train recovery is a special thing. And because he's so receptive, he's so good at that too.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have like such a misunderstanding, like, oh, how hard do you and Kahea train? Like, oh, he just trains the hell out of you. I'm like, he actually tells me to slow down and recover more than anyone.
Right.
Like, he is the most conservative when it comes to coaching me as an athlete out of anyone. Texting me, hey, make sure you jump in the ice and sauna. Make sure you hyperbaric. Like, slow down, eat a big meal. Make sure you hydrate extra. Like, we have a group chat with all the guys, and it's like, within an hour or 2 hours of our training finished every day, he's sending reminders, and those reminders are to become habits for people. He's trying to like break people, and not break them in a good way. He's trying to break their bad habits to create a good routine. And it's like, a lot of these kids don't see this, but it's like, these are like, he wants you to feel better. He wants you to be the best Jet. He wants you to be the best Ke'ahi. Like, he's teaching these kids to be better versions of themselves.
Yeah. And it's so, I didn't say it's easy because he is tough, but like, he lives it too. So to have a trainer who's actually embodying and living what they're preaching is so much more powerful too.
Yeah. There's no one, I mean, you're there, right there with him, with your craft, but he truly practices what he preaches.
Yeah. Well, shoot, man, I couldn't be more grateful to have you on.
We could sit here all day.
I know, we can go all day on it.
I'll just have to come back for another one.
We'll do round two eventually. Thanks for sharing a little bit behind the scenes. Thanks for talking a little bit about your process and kind of getting a little bit vulnerable with the things that you've worked on as a friend and as your brother and doctor. I will tell you, from my perspective, your legacy is going to be that you are an incredible human. You are an amazing father and husband. You've put family first and prioritized it, while at the same time pushing to be the best version of yourself in and around your arena, which happens to be a world champion. And so you're able to find that balance in a way that a lot of people struggle with. And I'm so grateful to have you in my sphere and have you in my ohana and have you to lean on as a friend and as someone who inspires me as well. So I love you, man, and I appreciate you sharing everything that you shared. So.
Well, thank you, Masi. It's truly an honor, and I don't think the world can appreciate you enough. Like, literally, I wish there was more of you so I could share you.
Yeah.
No, and thank you. And I think a lot of people, like, if there's one thing people could take away from watching this, it's communication. Like at the end of the day, I'm an athlete, he's a doctor, we're friends.
Yeah.
Like forget the doctor title, the surfer title,
Yeah.
like we're friends communicating right now.
Yeah.
And that's why our success with fixing injuries and coming out on top has been so powerful.
Absolutely.
And that's what I want people to inspire from. Talk to people, communicate. Like that's how, if you don't ask questions, how are you going to learn? How are you going to know? And yeah, thank you for your time. Thank you for continuing to put my body back together, and also continue to put
supply you with the cells,
good medicine. And you know, like I said, we're recovering right now. This is a recovery day.
That's exactly right. Active recovery.
Exactly. Remember that, people. Recovery days are not just sitting around.
Oh, well, I love you, brother, and I'm honored to be in your corner. Let's do it again sometime.
Thank you.
All right.
Dream team.
Dream team.